Let's talk about a system of justice where a leader's power isn't based on their own whim, but on a divine principle. A system where the law is the same for absolutely everyone, from a king to a commoner, no exceptions. That's exactly what we're diving into today. The foundation of justice during the time of Umar ibn al-Khattab.
So what's the constitution for a system like this? Well, it's right here. This verse from the Quran, it wasn't just a nice idea or a suggestion. It was a divine command, and it formed the very bedrock of the entire legal system. And the idea is pretty radical. Even today, your personal feelings about someone, even if you hate them, can never be a reason to deny them justice.
And the man tasked with making this a reality? Umar ibn al-Khattab. Now, it's really crucial to understand this one point. He didn't see himself as a king who got to invent the laws. No, his role was to be the chief enforcer of a code that already existed, a divine code. The principles were already set in stone. His job was to make them real for every single person living under his rule.
And you got to understand, for him, this wasn't just some item on a long to-do list. It was the entire point of his leadership. Within the Islamic framework he was following, justice wasn't some political choice or a handy tool for keeping control. It was considered the most sacred, the most important duty of all.
So what do we even mean by justice in this context? Because it's not about a ruler waking up one day and deciding to be fair. It's an obligation. The whole system, the machinery of the state, had to be set up to make sure that every person could get what was rightfully theirs, without any barriers, no matter how poor they were, what they believed, or who they were up against.
Okay, so that's the theory. It sounds great, right? But how does a principle like that actually hold up when the pressure is on? Let's look at a real-world case that really put this idea of a divine obligation to the test.
I mean, this is the ultimate stress test for any legal system, isn't it? When someone from the state's dominant group has a conflict with someone from a minority group, where does the law really stand? Who gets the benefit of the doubt?
So here are the players. We have a legal dispute between a Jewish man and a Muslim man. And just think about the context of the time. There's a definite power imbalance there. The case gets brought directly to the leader of the state, Umar himself.
So what was the verdict? Umar ruled in favor of the Jewish man. He didn't let their different religions sway the outcome one bit. The facts were the facts. The Jewish man was in the right, and so the law was on his side. It was as simple and as revolutionary as that. And the response from the Jewish man just says it all. You can hear the relief, but it's more than that. It's a powerful affirmation, by Allah you have ruled aright. That's the sound of a system that actually works, a system that earns the trust of everyone, including those outside the majority faith.
But you know, justice wasn't just about what happened in a courtroom. There was another core principle at play here. For a leader to be truly just, they had to feel what their people were feeling. They had to share in the suffering.
During Umar's rule, a truly devastating famine swept through the region. It got so bad it was called the Year of Ashes because the winds would just blow this fine sand around that looked like ash. Food was incredibly scarce, prices shot through the roof, and people were really suffering.
So what did Umar do? He took a personal oath. He swore off common luxuries, things like ghee, milk, and yogurt. And his reasoning was simple. He would not taste them again until every single person in the land could afford to have them too. At one point, a servant managed to buy some ghee and yogurt that had finally shown up at the market, but Umar wouldn't touch it. He ordered it to be given away to charity, saying he couldn't eat extravagantly while his people were going hungry.
His own words just get right to the heart of it all. This wasn't some political stunt. It was a deeply held belief. For Umar, you couldn't be a true leader if you were disconnected from your people's reality. How could he possibly understand their needs or govern them justly if he was insulated from their pain?
All right, so we've seen justice that's blind to religion and a leader who literally shares his people's hardship. But what about the ultimate test? What happens when royalty goes up against an ordinary person? Let's dig into our final case.
So on one side, you have Jabala. He's a king, a powerful new ally who just brought his entire tribe into the state, a real VIP. And on the other side, an ordinary man from a local tribe. I mean, the power gap between these two could not have been wider.
So, the story goes that during the pilgrimage in Makkah, the commoner accidentally steps on the edge of the king's long robe, a complete accident. But the king, filled with this incredible arrogance, turns around and strikes the man so hard that he breaks his nose. The man immediately goes to Umar to demand justice.
Umar calls for the king and lays out the law. Either the man forgives you or you face equal retribution. In other words, the man gets to strike you back.
and the king is just floored, absolutely stunned. He protests, "How can this be? He is a commoner and I am a king."
And this is it, the climax. Umar's response was 4 simple words that completely shattered the king's worldview. Islam has made you equal. That's it. In the eyes of the law, your title means nothing. Your royal blood offers you 0 protection. Your status is completely irrelevant. There's only the crime and the just consequence.
Now, these aren't just a few cherry-picked stories. What they show us is how a set of divine principles got woven into the very fabric of society. It's how justice went from being some abstract idea to a living, breathing reality that people could actually see and feel in their everyday lives.
So, when you put it all together, what are the big takeaways? What are these pillars of justice we've seen in action? Well, it's a justice that's blind to religion. It's a leadership that's built on empathy. It's an equality that makes noble titles and social status completely meaningless. And maybe most importantly, it's a system where even the weakest person can stand up and confidently claim their rights from the most powerful person in the land.
And it all traces back to this foundational principle from the Quran. The source code for all these actions was the deep-seated belief that all our human divisions, our nations, our tribes, our social classes, they're just for us to get to know one another, not to rank ourselves. The only thing that truly gives a person honor in this worldview is their consciousness of God, their piety.
And that kind of leaves us with one final thought to ponder. What is the true measure of a just society? Is it how complicated its law books are, or how powerful its armies are, or is it something much simpler? Maybe you can measure it by how confidently an ordinary person can demand justice from a king and know, without a doubt, that they're going to get it.